Hello and welcome to the Vision-Led Leadership Podcast. I am your host, Arin. I am a wellness educator and a visionary leader. I am on a mission to remind you that your intuition is always guiding you to your divine purpose. You were born at this time for a very important reason, and the time is now to shine in your truth. On the show, we talk about listening to your intuition, cultivating a successful mindset, next level leadership, and conscious capitalism. If you are new here, welcome. You are in the right place if you are a visionary leader ready to uplevel your health and live in line with your true calling. I am so happy to be speaking today with Lindsey Vertner. After fully recovering from a 2007 fatal car wreck that left Lindsey brain dead and paralyzed, she began serving high-achieving leaders as an award-winning mindset expert, a transformational speaker, and a multi-time best-selling author. She teaches leaders how to master their mindset and increase their clarity, confidence, and connections. Her unique methods guide her clients in a way that allows them to maximize their impact by fully walking in their God-given purpose, while increasing their self-care, their self-worth, and self-discipline. She empowers them to create a first-class life full of purpose, fulfillment, and happiness. You can connect with her at liveafirstclasslife.com. So Lindsey, welcome to the podcast.
Hey. Thank you for having me.
I am really excited to dive into this with you and learn all about you. We got connected through the wonderful magic of networking, right? I think Deanna, who was on the podcast a couple shows ago, tagged me in your post, and I just saw self-care and I was like, oh, we are needing to hook up. So I'm glad you're here.
Yes.
So let's do a little icebreaker. I love to know the answer to these questions. It helps me learn so much about you. The first one is, what's your hype song? Like you're about to go on stage, or maybe you're having a bad day and you need to get yourself in the right mindset. Who do you put on the radio?
Well, I have lots of different hype songs, kind of depending on my mood, and they can change with the season. So currently, my hype song is called Bless Me by Maverick City. And I just really love the words and the message behind that song because it's talking about being blessed with blessings, but not only for myself, it's also saying, bless me so that I can bless others. And that's what I'm all about. So the very first time I heard that song a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, current theme song.
Oh, I can't wait to listen to it. I'm going to put it on Spotify right after this, and I will link it up in the show notes because I know the listeners are going to want to hear it. Music is so incredible. I mean, I'm married to a musician and I love music and dancing, and it has such a power to really change our vibration and to get us in that mood. So I'm always looking for new recommendations. Perfect. So I'm a foodie. I love food. Whenever I go to a new town, it's always about like, what's the new food truck? What's the restaurant? And my kids have picked this up because every morning, the first thing they say to me is, Mommy, I want a snacky. So what is your favorite snack or food?
We definitely would get along great because I love music, I love dancing, I love food. So my favorite snack is hands down apple slices with either peanut butter or fruit dip or yogurt. But I can eat those all day, every day. And to be honest, I can eat all kinds of things, but that's probably my most consistent. I probably have it a couple times a week type snack. So I'm going to go with that one. But I like all the things.
All the food. I love that snack too. It's such a like inner child snack. I always think of my mom when I make apple slices and peanut butter. And I need to get a little more adventurous because I haven't really tried dipping it in other things. My husband does something really yummy. So we work with essential oils, and our essential oils are food grade. He puts lemon essential oil on the apple slices. And he probably does a little salt too. He's like the culinary wizard in our house. Too.
Yes, yes. I most eat them with peanut butter because I have that all the time. But then sometimes caramel, sometimes fruit dip, sometimes yogurt.
Ooh, caramel. It's almost that time of year too for those caramel apples. You're making me hungry. It's almost lunchtime. Let's move along. Okay. So this question is going to tell me so much about you. And it is, if you could have coffee or tea with anyone, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Hands down, I'm going to have to go with my spirit auntie, Whitney Houston. So you know how people say, oh, what's your spirit animal? Well, I have allergies, so I don't really do animals that often. And so I don't say I have a spirit animal. I have a spirit auntie, the lovely, rest her soul, Whitney Houston is who I just would love to sit down with. She's a beautiful person inside and out. And I feel like that would be the most hilarious conversation.
That would be
I love to
so
laugh
fun.
and happiness. So it would have to be Whitney Houston.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And you know what's so cool is like, this is why I love autobiographies, because if somebody has written a book, you actually can sit down with them in a sense. Has she written an autobiography?
Not that I'm aware of. And if she has, I'm surprised I don't have it. I mean, I've had other books by other people, but not one from her, like before she passed.
She's amazing. Her voice is like total chills.
Mm-hmm.
So good. Okay. I'm getting a sense of who you are, and I can't wait to like go try some yummy food with you when we meet up in person. So that sounds good. So tell us, you have an incredible business. Your story sounds extremely transformational. We want to know, what's this story? How did you start your business? Why do you feel like what you do is going to change the world?
Yes, so it is my story that actually led me to my purpose. And I always say that you have to be intentional about finding the purpose in your pain, because that's exactly what I did. So in 2007, I found myself waking up in complete darkness. I had no clue where I was. I went to move and I couldn't move. I went to speak and I couldn't speak. I couldn't see anything except the moonlight shining through an unfamiliar window. And so I don't know about you, but sometimes I watch too much TV, and the only thing I could think was that I was tied up in some psycho's basement. So I start to panic, like, because what else do you do in a time like that? I have no clue where I'm at. I can't see, I can't speak, I can't move. And I panicked so much that eventually I exhausted myself out to the point where I passed out. And the next time I woke up, I thought I was living like one of those horrible lifelike nightmares. And I slowly realized that I still didn't know where I was. I still couldn't see. I still couldn't speak. I still couldn't move. The only thing that had changed was now the sun was coming through that same window that I knew wasn't mine. But before I could panic again, a lady walked up to me and she starts asking me questions. And I'm thinking that I'm answering her. But in reality, the only noises coming out of my mouth are because there was a tube going down my throat, keeping me alive. Turns out this lady is my nurse, and she proceeds to tell me that an entire week earlier, on May 13, 2007, the car I was driving went off the opposite side of the highway, flipped multiple times before landing upside down. My head was pinned between the ground and the entire weight of the car on top of me. I was cut from the car and immediately pronounced brain dead on the scene. Was placed in a helicopter, lifeline to a trauma hospital, and again pronounced brain dead upon arrival by a new set of medical professionals, that is. And so that's what I woke up to. I was like, wait. 1 minute, you mean to tell me that I was minding my business, driving home from visiting my mother on Mother's Day, and the next I'm waking up to being told that not only had I been brain dead for the past week, but amongst a long list of injuries, I was also paralyzed. Brain dead and paralyzed. And it was that recovery process that led me to what I do today as a mindset expert, coaching and speaking high achieving leaders.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's something, we don't all experience it, and thank goodness. But for those of you that go to that edge of life
Mhm.
and get to live, I imagine you have a sense of what is important. And kind of
Definitely.
like, I'm not going to mess around anymore.
I thought I was living life, but you have that happen. It's like, wait, okay, was I truly making the impact that I want to make? Because to be honest, I don't mean to be morbid, but nobody is promised tomorrow or not even the next hour. We see it all the time where people pass away unexpectedly, no matter their age, no matter their background, no matter how much money they have. And so we have to make the most of today.
Yeah. And I read this quote the other day. It was like a meme, so who knows who said it. But it was this idea of life is hard. And so you better leave notes for the next generation. And we can think of people who have left us notes, in the books they've written or movies they've made, and how helpful that is. And so I kind of think that every single person has the opportunity to take on that responsibility to live this life fullest and then leave something for the next generation to be like, oh, okay, that's going to help me move along. Because I don't know about you, I'm 45 years old and I feel like I'm just now starting to know how to like live this thing called life,
Yeah.
right? And I'm almost halfway through it. That's rough.
I definitely agree. And that's exactly what I did, because the physical recovery was miraculous. Like I can even think about, there were 3 news articles that were written, and the very first one, it was front page news. The top headline across the front in big letters said, "Miracle on the highway. Woman believed dead is now alive in Indianapolis hospital." Those were the exact words. And so there was that. They obviously were shocked when I made it through the night, because the only reason they placed me on life support was until my family could be contacted. So when I kept, surviving my body, because once they contacted my family, they were like, oh no, you're not pulling her from life support. And my body kept progressing. And then I end up waking up, they were shocked. And then whenever I was discharged from the hospital a month later, they were shocked. And so the physical was miraculous. The emotional, that took quite a bit longer, and nobody prepares you for that. And so it was that emotional recovery journey where I started to pick up the tools and the lessons of how do I create the life that I desire and not be limited by the obstacles that have been thrown at me, by the obstacles that I see around me. And that took a lot of work. So I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, but it definitely took intentional work. And I talk about those things like in my book, First Class Life, and I help others to do the same, because I'm of the firm belief that if I can literally come back from deathbed, then there's no obstacle that you can't overcome to achieve your goals and dreams.
Yeah. Okay. So I know what I want to talk to you about here because we're in a similar field, right? I teach people about manifestation and law of attraction. Specifically, I like to teach people how to use the cycles of the moon to set their goals. But sometimes I come up against this struggle internally, and it even is feedback that people will bring me sometimes, which is like, Arin, it's not true that you can create your dream life. Like people are born in circumstances and situations, different levels of poverty, different levels of privilege. Like it's not true. You can't be teaching this bull crap, basically. And I take that in, I really think about it and I go, well, I was born into poverty. I was on government assistance. I'm a child of addicts. How come I was able to turn around my life? And is there a person out there that doesn't have that option? And I haven't completely come up with the answer yet. The pandemic really made us take a step back and look at privilege. and step into that. And I have to honor the fact that, yeah, I'm a white woman, so I have more privilege than somebody else. But I still believe that every single person born on this planet, even if you are like at the depths of poverty. I mean, we can look at something that really tugs at my heart is like in India, there's the class system.
Mhm.
You're not allowed to jump class. But I think that no matter what, you do have the ability to change your life. Maybe it's really hard to jump from I can't remember what the class system is called in India, but a person who is living on the streets and has to beg, and they're considered like really, really low on the totem pole. Like maybe it's impossible for them to become the president, but
Mhm.
every single person has the ability to go, I want to change my life. So I
Yeah.
want to know what you think about all of this and how you address that.
I definitely agree with you. Some of us have more challenging obstacles than others. And here's the thing, it's the mindset on the inside, because we have to think about, well, why can some people come from poverty and be successful? Or, why can there be siblings, exact same upbringing, exact same parents, and be in two completely different directions, one on a downward path and one on an upward path? So it's like, what is it? And it's what's on the inside, because our mindset is subconsciously connected to every single thing we do. And we all have these things called limiting beliefs that hold us back from the goals. And some of those things we picked up from other people and our caregivers and the environment we grew up in. But we have the ability to identify, what is my personal limiting belief? And how does it affect my behaviors to create the reality that I live in? Because at some point in our lives, it is no longer our environment and our parents or caregivers. At some point, we are past the baton and we have to take control of the outcome of our lives. So that can differ at ages, depending on where you're raised and things like that. But I'll use my rec for an example. So I'm a spiritual person. I do believe in Christ. And so I believe that the spiritual component, he did what he could do. As far as two different times, they could have put me in a body bag and someone ignored what they knew with their education and their medical background and with their physical eyes, what they saw in front of them. And they did not put me in a plastic bag, despite what science told them to. So I have to believe that was the spiritual piece of it. God moved some hearts in those moments. And then there's the science part of it. My medical team did what they could do as far as putting me on surgery, giving me life support and blood transfusions and all the medical emergency surgeries that I had. There was only so much that they could do. My family did what they could do as far as support, showing up at the hospital and things like that. But at some point, after all of that was said and done, the spiritual, the scientific, the family support, it was up to me to take control of the rest of my recovery. My family, the doctors, they couldn't make me go to therapy every single day, Sunday through Sunday, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for weeks up on end. I had to make that choice to say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this. I'm going to try. They don't know if it'll work, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I know what I want for my life. So it's the same with our goals and our desires. We have to identify what it is that we want. We have to be intentional about what it is that we want. And we have to take action towards making those intentions our reality. And we have to have faith. No matter what you believe in, we have to have faith that there is a purpose bigger than us and that it will all work out for my good as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So being faithful, intentional, and taking action are three immediate keys that people can do right now to start to shift their environment. And because those were things that I did, so I know that this is not theory. These things work. I've lived it and I've studied it. You can make your dreams come true, whatever those dreams may be. And for me, that was walking again. And I was, as you can see, I can walk again. And I know it's not as simple as that, but there are a lot of components that go into that. And I call that creating your first class life. We all have the ability to create a life that we desire, the quality of life that we desire, but you're going to have to put in some work. And I think that's why a lot of people don't. Because if it were that easy, all of us would be living our dreams. And so most people don't want to do the emotional work, or sometimes the financial work, or the physical work, the mental work that it takes to create the reality that you want to live.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's true. It takes work and self-reflection and being willing to grab opportunities. So it reminds me of this time in my business development where I realized I had a money mindset block. And it was common things like money is the root of all evil. The more success you get, the harder you're going to have to work. More money, more problems. Right? Those were like, I was like, yeah, I believe all that stuff. And so then I consciously went, well, I need to get some coaching, some mindset coaching, so I can get over this. But then I was like, I don't have any money. In order to have money, I have to get over this mindset. In order to get over the mindset, I need some coaching. It costs money. I don't have money. And that would have been a place that I could have just laid down and went, well, it's not for me, it's for other people. And what I did was, almost every coach, has some kind of freebie, right? And I was really lucky to get a free breakthrough session with the coach. And I juiced that for everything it was worth. I was like, I'm going to get over this money mindset block so I can actually hire a coach. So it's just an example of, if you want it bad enough, you're not gonna give up when you're given those blocks. So what do you tell someone if they're like, okay, I have this mental block, I have this mindset block? How do you help people overcome that?
One of the things to recognize is that we are creating our lives whether we recognize it or not, whether we're intentional or not. And so rather than letting life happen to you, you have to be intentional about what is it that I want. And I talk about being intentional a lot because it's very important, because our thoughts influences our words, and our words influences our actions, and our actions influences the environment that we find ourselves in and how we interact with the world. They say that the life that you're living right now, and by they, I mean scientists and theorists and all that stuff, the life that you're living right now is a result of the thoughts you had 5 years ago. So you have to say, okay, where do I want to be 5 years from now, or even next week, or where do I want to be by the end of the day? And so I always say, get off the fence. We need the wood. It doesn't matter what decision you make, but make a decision and commit to it. That goes back to that faithful piece, because once you commit to the decision and have faith in that singular decision, then your actions become a little bit different. You start thinking different, like like how you did, I'm going to make this free call work for me no matter what. And it's the same thing with other decisions. It's like, okay, this is what I want. I'm going to figure out how to get this no matter what. That is my focus. And then you start thinking a little bit differently. You start coming up with creative solutions for that specific problem. You start behaving a little bit differently. You start recognizing the opportunities, the tools, the resources, the support that can help you towards that goal, because now you're focused on that goal. So can we do a little demonstration? Is that all right?
Let's do it. Let's go.
This is one of my favorite demonstrations to do. I don't even know how I came up with it, but it's stuck with me throughout the years and it's always impactful. So take your left hand, okay, and put it out to the side of you. We have to do like the side since we're on virtual. And then take your right hand and put it out to the other side of you. And then turn your head and look at your left hand. Can you see your right hand behind you?
Nope.
Exactly. Unless you are some alien, you can't focus on the left and the right at the same time, just like we can't focus on the top and the bottom, the in, the out, the right, the wrong. We can't focus on the solution and the problem at the same time. We can't focus on poverty and lack and I don't have enough money and focus on abundance, wealth, and building a legacy. We have to choose one or the other. Focus, be intentional, commit to that decision, and then start to take action and have faith that as long as I do what I need to do, it's all going to work out for me.
So good. Okay, well, we could talk for hours. I can already tell. And there will be more, I'm sure. But I want to know, like, what do you have coming up? How can people connect with you? I know you got a cool retreat coming next. So tell us about all that.
Yes. Well, you can find me across all social media platforms at Lindsey Vertner. As long as you spell my name correctly, you will find me Lindsey, V as in Victor, Ertner. And I do have a women's self-care retreat coming up in Mexico this coming February 2023. Super excited because we are going to relax and connect and just bond and take the time for ourselves, shedding away all of the masks and the roles and the titles that we wear day in and day out and just be you. That's what this retreat is all about. We're going to have photo shoots. We're going to have a yacht party. It's going to be nice. So you can find out more about that at firstclasslifeevents.com. I'm actually having an informational session on Wednesday, September 7th, which should be tomorrow, depending on if you are listening this whenever it drops. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Yes. But I'll have an informational session where you can ask your questions live, find out some more info, but definitely feel free to join me in Mexico. I love new friends. We're going to have a good time. We're going to connect. So that's where you can find me at lindseyvertner.com. Firstclasslifeevents.com is where you can find out more about the retreat. And I have a special gift for everyone because I'm all about taking action now, not tomorrow, but right now. But you can get a free action plan guide that's going to help you to effectively plan out your goals in a way that you will follow through on them at takeactiondownload.com. Takeactiondownload.com.
So good. And I will put it all in the show notes. So I'll link you up to everything. Lindsey, it's been a pleasure chatting with you and hearing a little bit about your story. Thank you so much. And for the listeners, if something resonated with you and maybe you thought of someone like they need this, take a screenshot right now, share this with your friend. You can tag us on Instagram or Facebook, wherever you put it out there, but we want to grow this incredible community of visionary leaders who have business ideas, they are in business, and they feel like they are purpose, mission driven. We have so much power to change this world, and doesn't it need it now more than ever? Thanks, Lindsey.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everybody.